Hello ladies and gentlemen, we go for the Lotus 49 at Zolder, the highlights for the Australian Strength of Field race. It was Friday 11:30 GMT. We will go for one lap with Jan Laprevot as he leads us around Zolder for his qualifying lap. We go for this first corner, a fast left-hander, quite slippery in the Lotus 49, back on the throttle before the second and third corners, two right-handers, the second one a bit slower back on the throttle, and slow down a bit for the front to bite, and again slowly and carefully on the throttle to gain some speed before corner number 4, back on the brakes, down one gear and a fast sweeper to the right. As early as possible on the throttle to put all the power of the Lotus 49 down this straight until hard braking for the first chicane. A left then right, being careful with the curbs not to destabilize the car. Going straight into a crest, very careful not to lose the rear end of the car, very slippery, hug the left, hard on the brakes again for the second chicane, right then left. Very careful now, going on the throttle and then again getting the front to bite for the right-hander. And once again careful with the crest, left-hander hard braking for turn number 8, a very tight right-hander. Back on the throttle, again all the power of the Lotus 49, accelerating until the last chicane. Be mindful that we are running the alternate layout here, so we cut the last chicane very fast, left then right sweeper. Dangerously close to the wall here to complete a lap at 1:25.284, that gives him the pole position for this race. Going to the grid, we have Jan in the first position, followed by Uwe, Luis, David, John, Chris, Stephen, Robert, Ross and Lyle. And off to the start we go. Green lights, and Jan has a really good start, jumps up, gets some wheel spin, getting attacked by both left and right. He defends the inside, hard braking, Chris cannot go through, and we go to the first time around the back stretch with Jan leading the field, single file, breaking into the first chicane, no incidents at the first few corners of this. By the end of the first lap, we see David getting under attack by John Bonta. John has a really good launch, puts in the inside, David tries to hold the outside but loses the rear and spins the car around. Thankfully he manages not to hit anyone or anyone, just heads back into the track, losing a few positions but keeping the car intact and back into the race. By lap 5 we have our first casualty, Robert Nelson, running NP9, loses at the very treacherous crest car and unfortunately hits the wall and flips the car a couple of times. Now this would lead him later on to a retirement. By lap 6, position 5, Chris is putting the pressure on Luis up into the chicane. Then the right-handers loses a bit under throttle. He tries to put down all the power Lotus 49 has. Big moment on the left-hander, getting a bit loose. Manages to catch the car heavy on the brakes for turn 8. Back again, putting pressure onto Luis. Just ahead of them we have P3 John Bonta trying to put all the pressure he can into Uwe. He tries to have a look on the inside but brakes heavily into turn 1, loses his apex, gets a bit loose but in shape to keep following Uwe, a battle that will go on for most of the race. And in the very next lap, Chris still going hard, trying to use all the power of his Lotus 49, gets loose at the exit of the right-hander but keeps on control, and Luis has a big moment going down from the crest. Chris gets a chance under braking, tries to stick the nose but just not there. Chris ends up going into the grass and after this mistake decides to retire from the race. Jan goes on to win quite a margin to second place, crosses the finish line in first place and grabs the first position. Completing the podium are Uwe in second place and John Bonta in third position here at Zolder. We hope to see good clean racing all around and we hope to see you next race on the track.